I've gone out and bought all the wood that I'm going to be using for the bed frame and the shelving in my van. I decided to use pine because it's a relatively cheap wood to use, and I also wanted to kind of match the colours that I've already gone with for the van. First step's going to be to cut it all to size so I can start putting it together like a jigsaw and working out exactly where I want stuff. And then I'll probably assemble it, stain it, and then I'll fix it down. So let's get into it. So now I've cut everything to the right length so I need it. So I'm just building it up to see roughly how the measures is going to be and if I want to change anything. And once that's done, I'm going to be able to start fixing the base off. By doing it this way as well, I'll also be able to see which piece I want where and what's going to look best just as like an aesthetic thing. Yeah, this gives me a rough idea of how it's all going to come together at the end. So I've cut most of the pieces to size now, just to get a rough idea of how it's going to look going together. And the main concern as well is just making sure I've got enough storage for the stuff I need and a good sized drawer under there. But I'm pretty happy with how that's looking so far. Just going to end up pulling out just towards the end. I've got all the space here still to chill, and ultimately this is pretty much exactly how I wanted it to look. So for the sake of support, I'm going to have a piece running the long ways there parallel to that one. I'm thinking I'm going to fix from that side going across and do like a jigsaw there. So cut up and then down, have it slide on together, and then I'll probably glue that together. So I'm going to be using these pieces here. I'm going to try to notch that out, notch that inside out. So hopefully at the end they'll slide down together, and so I'm going to be using my multi-tool. Here's the result, first trial. I'm gonna have to take a little bit more out the top and straighten it up, but overall, that's gonna sit in pretty tight, especially when I glue it. And then I'll be able to screw through that one, and that should get the base of my frame done. So I'm just gonna clean this up and keep going. So I've now cut all the pieces for what my basic frame's gonna be and what I'm gonna need to support the bedding frame. I, at this point, don't want to do any more. I've only cut the bits that are 100% going to like go on there. These two end plates here, so when you look in it, it's going to look tidy. I've created the space for my drawer. And other than that, I've now got these little areas around the sides, and I'm going to use that space there, that I just want to leave open for now, because I'd like to go on a few little trips and just see what sort of things I like to take away, what I don't need, and in the end, I don't know, I might end up doing multiple slats here, or I might go across and do a little shelf, but basically this is the space that's going to be available to use, so I just want to go away and see what I want to be taking with me, and then design little shelves to go for that purpose. So my plan now is going to clear coat this and stain it, just to seal it all, keep the wood, A, bring out a little bit of colour in it, and B, so if I spill anything on it, just protect it and make it easy to clean. Okay, so I've got all my wood out that I'm going to be using on the frame, and I'm just going to give it a quick sand over with some 240 grit paper, and then I'll give it some stain and leave it to dry it. through and do that on all the large surfaces. And then on the sides, I reckon I'm just going to grab a bit of, also got some 120 grit. This is the thing for the end grain. If I had a drop saw, what I would have done is cut it and squared it off beforehand to make it go together cleaner. However, since I'm doing it just by handsaw, I was more concerned that I'd make a line worse by doing that. So what I'm going to do for this is sand that off so it looks nice and smooth and try to get it flat that way. I figure it will just give me a better result than, you know, my wobbly hand going through it. So yeah, outside of that, all flat surfaces will be done with a quick 240. Okay, so here's me now going over the end grain with 120 grit. So it's definitely not perfect, but considering most of these are just joining pieces anyway, it's going to clean that line up and help it go on a lot nicer. The ones that are exposed, I'm going to go a little bit more detailed on and try to get it looking nice. So just for a little comparison, that's how the end grain looks without being sanded. I've just brought it back to that. Just gonna clean it up a little bit. So it's starting to buckle down out here, so the audio's terrible, sorry. Got my clear coat here, so I'm just gonna give it a little mix, and then I'll begin the process of coating all of these. With all the pieces stained, now I just gotta let it dry and then give it another coat in about 6 hours. So I've now hit both sides with one coat, and I'm just gonna quickly do a second one on them, just to really make sure they're protected. I forgot to shake the tin. Always stir your paint, boys and girls. Now you can watch this. Trying to use sex to sell these videos. It's pretty sturdy. Here I finally got all my pieces for the bed frame stained. Just gonna pull up the tape and start trying to put it together. Gonna be using a little bit of wood glue, some bugles in some places, and then for the rest, I'm just gonna be using the same screws I used in the boards. It's time to start chucking it in, trying to make sure it's all squared, and we'll see how it comes together. So now that I've glued this together, it's nearly right. It just sits up a little bit higher here, so I'm going to have to quickly buzz that down just so I can have it all finished at a uniform height. It also hasn't set completely square, so I'm going to have to hopefully fix Start later on. Alrighty, so the crossbeam in the middle didn't exactly glue on 90-degree angles, so I'm gonna have to fix it down with these brackets, and hopefully that should keep them in place. At this point, I'm just thinking I'll use these right angle brackets to hold everything down to the floor. So as long as I can get all that straight and all the dimensions right, then I should be able to finish this off. Now pretty close to having all the framework in. I've used those little brackets just to support it. So what I've done is just try to get it in a way so it's not gonna fall over once the actual slats and stuff are on. I'm also gonna have that other piece up there to support sliding, although I've got that box so it doesn't really matter. So the body of the frame's nearly all finished and fixed down. I just had to make a few little adjustments as I went. Like for example down here, that was originally gonna try to be a bigger storage space, but I've had to move this forward a bit for the sake of it's where the two slats are going to go, so that's going to give support all the way across and give me something to fix down to. I suppose the other option would have been to move it back a little bit and have like a little piece there to support up, but I'd rather just have that one solid piece supporting. I'll probably lose about an inch in space for that little storage bit, but yeah, it's really not the end of the world. I'd rather have a stable structure. So I just need to get onto the last little bits now, and then I can start working on the top slat part.